Hey y'all, this is Cindy. I'm the Tireless Tangler. I want to welcome you back to the 100 Days of Zentangle Project 2021. Thank you guys so much for being with me today. Our tangle for today is called Pickpocket. It is by my friend Tomàs Padrós, who's a CZT in Barcelona, Spain. And for that, we are going to use two tiles. The first is going to be our standard Zentangle tile with black PN and a pencil, and that's all. And the second one I'm going to throw out as a challenge for those who want to try it. I'm just going to use a tile with some splotches on it like this, and I'm going to demonstrate a very easy technique and that I think will work really well with this. And so if you don't want to do that one, you don't have to. But first, let's get started with this and some breathing. I really want you guys to take breaths with me today. Pickpocket can be challenging for some people, but I hope that I'm able to show it to you in a way that won't be too challenging for me or you. All right, so I'm going to start with my pencil, and hopefully you're going to be able to see it okay. And I'm going to draw a squared off border here that auras the outer edge of my tile. And this is something I do quite a bit. I don't feel like this is cheating since we tend to start Zentangle tiles in this way anyway. So hopefully you can see this. Let me darken this. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it will help you get off to the right start, I think. At least it helps me. So that's all I need my pencil for. Pickpocket is done with a dot grid, and it does need to be a careful dot grid. You want to make your dots not too big, but decent sized, okay? And the way I do this, I'm going to set up this in a 5 dot square grid, so 5 going across and 5 down. And the way I like to do that is put a dot at each end of my square here, or my square-like entity. Then I put another dot in the middle, or approximate center of that line. And then I divide each one of those sections again in half with more dots. And I really have to focus to keep my dots from getting too large, and I don't want them to get too large. We do something with these dots to turn them into triangles, and it makes them extremely large triangles if we make the dots too big. But you will need a discernible side, so you need to make them, you know. So now I'm going to turn my tile, and I'm going to do the same kind of division on this other side here. Find my center-ish, and then divide those two sections again, remembering not to make those dots too big. And again, you want to make them carefully. So now this is pretty easy to make a squared off dot grid, because we have these guidelines both top and on the side, which is why I handle mine this way. And reminding myself again to make careful dots. Again, we're going to ink over them, but their size does make a difference. Okay, so this is what we have, right? So 5 across, 5 down, square grid. So now, if you remember on Huggins, when we did crazy Huggins, and also cadent to a different, in a different way, we have these strokes where we take off and land, okay? And so we're going to start that by connecting these, this dot here and this dot here diagonally across this dotted box here, okay? This dotted square. And so we're going to do that on the downside. Now, you lefties, if you want to turn this around, you can. However, I don't promise that you will be able to keep it straight. If not, so yeah, I don't know. You will know better than I think. So now we're going to not go down like that. First, I want to continue across this row, and I want to skip the next box, and I want to then go to the next one and make that same stroke again. We want to take off and land on the same side as we did here. And we want to keep these lines as straight as possible. I mean, you don't have to have them razor straight because they're going to have a tiny bit of a curve naturally. But don't be too crazy with your curving there, okay? So now on the next row down, we're going to do the same thing, although we're going to turn this and we're going to do the mirror opposite of what we just did here. So let me show you. Take off from the other side of this dot, straight across, and land on the diagonal dot here. Yes, like this. And again, repeat over here. Same side. It's always going to be the mirror opposite of the line that you have just drawn next to it. So here, the opposite side would be here. Right? So these are mirrored opposites, these lines. Okay, so we're going to continue that alternating sides all the way down on each one of these rows, okay? So here, the opposite of this is going to be on this down side. The opposite of this will be on this up side. Okay, remember, Cindy, don't curve too much. And then over here, the same thing. I'm going to go opposite of this. So that'll be the downside. And here, opposite will be the upside. Yes? Now, it's not so bad, right? So we're going to turn our tile slightly, and we're going to go diagonally back the other direction, okay? And like in Huggins, there's going to be some lines that we don't want to cross, and that's how we're going to figure out where to put our line, right? So if we draw the line connecting here from the bottom side, we're going to run into this line right here. So we're going to want to draw this on the upside, and we have no line that's going to interfere from this. So we're going to take off and land, right? So now here, we're going to do the same thing. Actually, here, we're going to do the same thing. Let's repeat this same row first before we go and get crazy. And I'm repeating this stroke right here. Okay, now on the next row down, we're going to go opposite. So that would be, this one was on the top, on the upside. So this will be on the downside. So take off and land. Okay. We're going to do the same thing here. The opposite of this stroke will be to go on the downside, like that. Okay. Next row, we're going to again go opposite, and this is on the downside. So we're going to go on the upside, and we know that this is correct because we will not be crossing any lines. Make sure that you know which side you want to be on before you start your stroke. That is one of the keys to getting this kind of thing right without a lot of wrong strokes in there. Not wrong, but opportunistic strokes. How about that? All right, so I can't go on top of this one, and I'm going to go opposite of this one, which is on the upside. So I'm going to go on the downside here. So you've got multiple ways to double check yourself if you get confused there. All right, and one over here, downside. Okay, now the next thing we need to do is we are going to draw some straight lines, and they are going to go from in this first row, or this first column, if you will, between about equal distance between these first two dots. You're going to start a straight line down. When you come to a line, an inked line, you're going to lift your pen, go to the opposite side, and then continue your line down, trying really hard to keep it perpendicular. Straight up and down, Cindy. Oh, this isn't right. Oh, not as bad as I thought, maybe. Okay, so in this way, we have enhanced the weaving of this pattern, okay? So by doing it this way, we have said this section is going over, this section is going under, this section is going over, right? So in the next, so let's go over and skip our column and go to this third column, and we're going to do the same things. Equal distance between the dots. Straight down. Lift your pen when you come to another line. Go to the opposite side, drawing behind. Again, straight down. In this way. Now, we also want to enhance the overlapping quality on these other two columns. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to ink in a line on these internal parts. Okay, so let me demonstrate that. It's going to be equal distance between the second dot and the third dot, right? And we're going to skip this top section. Whoops, got a little crazy with the ink. Well, goodness. We'll work on it in post-production. You guys know what that means. Here we go. So we are again skipping these sections down here, here, and here. And again, enhancing that overlapping, saying that this section goes beneath this one and this one and this one, right? Okay, so over here in the last column, same thing as the second column. Equal distance about between these two dots. Now, these lines have told the eye which one of these is on top. Okay, so we've given the eye something to think about, which I guess that's a good thing. I guess it's good. Now, it's me, and I don't know that I can... We'll wait. We'll wait. Cindy, don't get ahead of yourself. All right. So now, this is basically the pattern, and the rest is dressing it up. However, this seems to be the part that gives most people a problem, okay? So let me show you how to do this. What we're going to do is we're going to transform these dots that we started with into little triangles, okay? And the way that we're going to do that, and the part of this that gives people the problems, is how to make these triangles form and point the right direction. And so I did a video on this, just that one portion, a couple of years back, and so that's why we're doing this today, because somebody asked me to repeat that in this longer format. So let's see if I can explain it. So what I basically decided to do was pick any dot you want here in the center, and what you want to do is extend this line that goes on top of this dot just a tiny bit. Okay, And then you're going to draw a line that makes a triangle straight down. This triangular line is going to be parallel to this, okay? Now this doesn't look very triangular, but we curved this. And so we need to just square that off, which is why, you know, you don't want to put too much curve in these. It makes this part a little problematic. Okay, so that's pretty perfect. I'm pretty happy with that. So here's my next dot. How do I know which way to go? Well, if you're going to extend a line here, you can't extend this one or you'll run past a line, and that's the rule. We don't cross over lines, right? So we're going to turn this, and we can extend this way. So we're going to do that. Try to keep it straight. And then we're going to make this line again parallel to this one right here, okay? And ink it in. Some of these may be a little large, some of them may be smaller. Again, this is due to the size of your dots. So that's why I said be careful not to let them get too crazy. And you may have to square these corners off if you put a little bit of a curve in. But this is what we want, okay? So down here, which one are we going to do? We can't do this one because it will cross a line. So we're going to extend this one just a little bit until you can see that triangle form. And this line parallel to this one. Now, I know this seems fairly simple, and it is, but this is truly confusing if you don't have everything set up correctly. So that's how I have figured out to do it, to where I always know which way I'm going. So I extend my line in the only place I can. I go straight out at that angle. Wait, straight out at that angle. Stop laughing at me, guys. Just kidding. All right, like this. And these lines are supposed to be, you know, more or less parallel to these lines that go, but oh my goodness, beside them. Now, if you'll notice, each of these triangles is pointing in an opposite direction. This one has the point this way. This one is pointing this way, this way, this way, right? This one needs to go the opposite of this one. So we're going to make this one look like this one, but pointing this way. And I sort of made a mush of that. Doubt anybody will notice though. Like this, okay? In fact, that's probably a line. Yes. So I'm just going to let it be one. All right. Now, let's do the next column of these and see if we can keep it straight. Now, these are going to be opposite than these, okay? Everything is opposites on this. And so this one is going to point this, this direction. And so I'm going to make this like this. Trying to keep this line parallel with that. And yes, these are sticking up over a little bit, but that's all right. Okay. Now, here we are going to take the line that we can continue, bring it out just a little bit, try to keep it straight, and then parallel line with this. Opposite, extend the line, make sure you go straight, parallel line to this, ink it in. And you'll notice opposite directions just all by themselves, okay? Extend your line. Bring a parallel line down. Oops. And going the opposite direction so you know it's right. Once again, parallel line. Ooh, that one ended up being large. Okay, so again, here we're going to extend the line. Now these are more tricky for me. This line needs to be parallel to this one. I tend to get my ones in the corners a little turned around. Okay, but you'll notice this is opposite of this and opposite of that, right? So this one, extend the line. Again, this line's going to be parallel to this line. And like this. And again, pointing opposite of this. I really don't like the way this looks. There, that's better. Okay, so now next one down, extend the line. This needs to be parallel. And it needs to point this way. All right, and on this one, this is going to have the flat side here. And then these are going to go like this, and this is opposite of this. So you can see this is not a hard pattern, but it does take focus, and that is not a bad thing. Focusing on which way you're supposed to be turning causes your focus to internalize and be more aware of what exactly you're doing with your pen strokes. And that's what we want. We want you focused on each stroke of the pen. That is where the Zen comes from. Okay, so I've got to go opposite of this here. So I'm going to draw a straight line on the other side. And then point my arrow or point my triangle that way. And then here I'm going to extend my line, just whoops, straightly. Oh my God, I'm making stuff up right and left today. Mari says hey to everybody.
Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe.
Says don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Okay, whatever. Whatever is whatever. All right, continue, extend the line, parallel to this. This should at least help you get out of that situation where you don't know which way to turn these. You should at least have an idea of which way to go here. Take your time. Don't be in a hurry with this. All right, so opposite this is, well, we've got a line to extend, so I don't need to worry about all that business. All right, and then we're going to parallel this. Okay. I think getting that one shaped right is the hardest part on these edge pieces. which is why I always want you to do the opposite of what you see next to you. This one, extend your line straight out. Then we need a parallel line coming down to this. Yeah, very nice. Parallel line. Extend your line. Parallel line. Don't give in to the inclination to make these shaped differently. Really try to focus on parallel line. Extend the line, parallel line. That's the key to getting this straight, as it were, or parallel, or pointy, or whatever we're doing today. Here we go. This is pure pickpocket, just the way it is. Okay, now, you know, sky's the limit on embellishing, and you can make this really ornate if that is what you like. This has a lot of power in its simplicity, and so one of the things that I do like to do is treat these lines like I do the Huggins lines, which is to just draw auras on everything. These sort of internal auras. And trying to be careful, of course, as I am. Trying it anyway, not necessarily careful. Okay, so I'm just gonna look for my spots. Okay, so this is a line coming from this direction. And this comes from this direction. Well, I am not excited with my aura lines. So that tells me I'm getting in a hurry. And I need to relax and chill out a little bit. Breathe. Take my time. Not sure that's going to help me tonight, but we're going to go for it anyway. All right, so okay. I'm trying to figure out where the line would be if this had a line, and it'd be like this. Okay, so let's do this one. I'm just going to do that because I can. And I could tuck it up under here. Okay, now it's tucked. Now this is intentional. And I suppose it's one way of finishing this out. This, of course, is not in the step out. This is my own little imaginative creation over here. Follow me at your own risk. That's going to be my new mantra. All right, so this will have a line here. Adding these little partial lines helps me keep these auras straight. It's a coping mechanism that I use. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do any of this. Do what you want. Make yourself happy. Be happy. Be happy. I'm going to try to straighten this out. It's going to be a big honking triangle, but it's going to be all right. At least this line will be straight and it'll stop bugging my OCD. Of course, now the big thing is bugging my OCD, so I'm just going to have to get over it, aren't I? By the time we get these cool auras on everything. Well, they'd be cooler if I could make them straight, but I am going to embrace my imperfection today. I'm going to say if my lines are not straight, that is because they are choosing not to be, and that's all right. These lines are my creations, and if they're imperfect, that is all right with me. No creation is perfect, especially not man. Although I suppose that's an arguable point. Although I doubt anybody would argue very hard these days. I choose to live in hope. So I have an appointment to get a vaccine tomorrow, and my family is, anyways, part of my family is concerned about that. They say there's been terrible side effects and deaths and all of this stuff that I haven't heard anything about any of that. And so I'm, trying to figure out what to do.
Wait, what? There's side effects to the vaccine?
Well, I don't know. That's what somebody has said, and I need to look it up and see.
Where is one from?
Good question.
No, I can't find it.
Here, okay. So aside from my adventurous aura lines, this is not bad. So let's go ahead. I said this one was going to be pretty, was going to be black and white and fairly plain. So this is where I'm going to stop with this. So let's shade. So everywhere where we overlap, this is where we need to shade. You don't want to put your graphite over the ink, of course, if you can avoid it. You want a nice dark shade right up on this line. And then we'll have to blend this out, and we'll probably go over that again. I've got some spots that I will have to fix with my mono zero, but as far as getting the stray graphite here along the edges. But this is where I'm going to stop with this tile today. So if you are interested in what I'm going to do next, then stick around. And if not, I'm going to see you tomorrow. All right, enders, and those that would like a little bit of a challenge today, what we're going to do is we're going to draw Pickpocket again on this tile, and we're going to do it in the same way. I am going to start with my penciled border. That's all right. Got that one a little too far out, I think, but that's going to be fine. All right. And grab my mono zero so I can grab that line out. Okay. So basically, what we're going to do is draw Pickpocket again. I'm going to draw it in brown, just because I want to. And every time I come to one of these splotches, I'm going to lift my pen and not draw in there, okay? So when we get finished, we're going to have these sort of holes in our pattern that align with these splotches of color. And hopefully what we'll get is something interesting. And if not, you know, we gave it a shot. Once again, I'm going to start with my dots exactly the same as I did in the last one, again with my midpoint. Not exactly straight, but it'd be all right. And I'm going to again do this side. Yeah. Now, the only thing about doing these types of tricks is that it can be, depending on the pattern, it can be a little bit confusing. And so that's why I had intended to do this initially on the tile, and then I realized that Pickpocket has its own challenges as a pattern, and so I thought, well, maybe I should just do it the standard way. But then that video just didn't take all that long, and I felt like I was shortchanging you guys, and so I thought, well, maybe if we added something onto this one extra, then those that wanted to tackle it could, and those that didn't were free not to. Okay, so about here, and having this borderline really helps, even though I rarely get it straight over here. All right, okay, so now I'm going to start Pickpocket, and yeah, I might as well just dive right in. And I'm going to start on this low side, and every time I come to a pocket of color, I'm going to skip over that, just like drawing behind. Okay, so I'm going to skip this column and do this one, same side. Okay, well, that's long. All right, now the next row down, opposites, right? And then opposites. That got a little bit crazy. It's going to be all right. It's going to be large. Opposite. Remember to make sure where you want to be before you start your stroke on this. Okay, opposite of this one is going to be upside. Long one. Opposite is going to be downside. Okay. This one is not visible, so we're going to do, this is downside, so we're going to do upside. So I'm just going to go straight on in there. All right. Okay, now we're going to turn our tile and go diagonally. Same process we used before. That's upside, this is downside. Upside. Downside. All right. And here. Upside. And downside. Upside and downside. And if you have to say that to yourself to keep from getting confused, do it. All right? This is the hardest part, except for the little corner thing. All right. So now I'm going to add my first set of lines. I'm going to start midpoint between my first two dots. Straight down, and I'm going to stop when I get to the edge of this ink. I'm going to pick my pen up, skip down here, go straight down. Oops. Then this next column I'm going to go inside here, midpoint. Skipping over the ink. This one, start from the top, midpoint. Lift your pen. Okay. And then this last one is going to be in here. Let's do this one first so we have something to aim from. All right. Probably should have stopped a little sooner, but that's okay. Okay, so let's change our dots into triangles and shade this, and we'll be done. All right, so I like to start in the middle with one where I know where I'm going, so I usually pick this middle one, and I'm just going to extend my line, make this line parallel, and then make sure this one is headed straight in. And ink. And there is my first triangle. And you just work out from there. Can't extend this one, although I can straighten that a little bit. I can extend this. Parallel line. Like that. Looks good. Okay, extend my line. Parallel line. Just like that. Beautiful. Okay, we have missed this one, which will be pointing in this direction. So this one will point in this direction. And a parallel line. Okay, let's move over here. Let's go backwards. Okay, this points this direction, so we're going to point this one the other way. Okay, and down here, I'm going to extend my line. This one can't be extended, so it'll have to come this way. And a parallel line. Like that. Parallel line. And straighten this one out a little bit so it points. Take your time with the inking and do a neat job. The nicer and neater those triangles are, the nicer this will be, the cooler this pattern will look. Okay, extend the line, parallel line, ink in. And this will work anywhere with any dot, except the ones on the edges, because there's no line to extend on those. Let's see what we got here. So if I extend my line, that's going to have to come down here a little bit. Just take my time. Make a nice inked little triangle. Very good. Okay. Save my last lines, the last edges for the last edges for last. Okay, so I want to go opposite this one, so this is going to go this way. There we go. Down here, extend the line. Parallel line. There we go. Okay, here extend the line. Remember to try to keep that line straight when you extend it. Otherwise you might have some interesting looking triangles. Straight and parallel. Okay, so extend the line. And parallel. All right, now let's tackle these edges. So I do have a line I can extend. Now I need a parallel line. And the hard part is this is going to point this direction. Yeah, there we go. Opposite this one. Okay, extend the line. Now I need a parallel line to this. And we want to point this in the same direction as these. Here again, extend the line. Put in your parallel line. So I need the flat side on this side. And it's going to point this way. All right, let's do this side. Okay, extend the line. Parallel line. Extend the line, parallel line, and slant this way. These edge ones are the ones where you really have to think. The rest of them you can kind of phone in, but these you really have to think. Extend this. You still want to do the extend the line thing, but then figuring out which side then you go from, and pointing these the right direction. That's the key. And again, it's not hard, but you do have to pay attention. Okay, extend the line and a parallel line. And this is going to go like this. There. Now, I probably will come in here and add auras, and I'm going to shade this with this collar race that I use, this terracotta color. And probably darken that with my PN, or with my, what am I thinking, graphite. And I do want to add auras, these internal auras, but isn't this cool? And by sticking it in the brown palette and all of that, my intention was for these to look like just spots, maybe age spots or spills or something like that. And there are lots of different ways you can get lots of different techniques with this. One of those is to put paint or wine or some coffee, something on the bottom of a cup, and put that, spill that, quote unquote, on tile, and, let that be one. We call that wine and tangle, basically, and something similar to that. And, there's lots of different things that you can do with this technique just by adding an interrupt to a pattern. You can make something look very interesting, right? And so I wanted to introduce this technique in a very non-threatening way by using small splotches of color instead of large patches where you're going to have to figure out where the heck the pattern is and all of that. And so I wanted to introduce this to you in case I decide to come out with a tile where we use one of these glasses techniques, where you put your where you have a dirty bottom of your glass, and you put that on the tile. I use watercolor for mine, but it can be anything. It can be anything. So this is how I'm going to handle this, but I wanted to throw this out at you and sort of give you some non-threatening practice with this technique. And I'm just going to continue to shade on mine, and we're going to call it a day. I hope my enders are doing well. I hope everyone is doing well. This color matches really well. I'm not sure I want it to match that well. I am seeing double right now. I may come in and double these auras down the center. If you want some ideas on this, go check out Tomás's Instagram and where the step out is going to be. And I will put a graphic up for you so you can see how he spells his name and all that stuff, and you can find him, or you can go to the description below and click on that link. That should take you to his Instagram where he's got the step out for this pattern. So you guys have seen me shade with colored pencil before. This is nothing new. So this is where I'm going to leave you. I had fun doing these two tiles with you today. And I hope you have enjoyed doing Pickpocket with me. I am going to see you guys tomorrow for St. Patrick's Day. Don't forget, we're doing a Celtic knot. So plan to have some fun. All right, guys, I'm going to see you tomorrow.
Now watch me do it, huh? See? You're not even eating. No, you're not. No, you're not. I just deflected all of your things. Hey, don't break my control. I'm deflecting all of your keyboards. The ones that I'm not deflecting, I'm blocking. The ones that I'm not blocking are deflecting, I'm dodging. Keep on pressing B, you can send multiple P-loss. This is B. Now you're locked out. Press it multiple times. Yeah, like that. Press the red button multiple times. Like this. Yeah, like that. Like this, you know?